Dan, you're a social psychologist who takes a unique approach to study the social psychological consequences of conspiracy theories. What made you dive into the world of conspiracies?
Yeah, that's true. I find conspiracy theories just really interesting. I'm sure your listeners, also probably have either dabbled themselves in conspiracy theories or at least know someone who has. And I was just
Yeah.
so interested to learn why some people do find them really appealing and also why some people don't, in a way. And of course, thinking about, okay, well, do they actually harm us? Are they impacting us, the person who believes it, and indeed wider society? So it really came from the fact that they're just so, I don't know, entertaining almost, and you want to kind of learn way more about them.
Can you explain to our listeners what the Conspiracy Kitchen is, which you and fellow colleagues have developed?
Also, the Conspiracy Kitchen is an exhibit to try and explain the key ingredients of a conspiracy theory. Because if you try and think about what actually is a conspiracy, how would you define it? What kind of makes up a conspiracy theory? It's kind of difficult. I kind of struggled with it. So we thought, okay, why don't we think about it in the kitchen format, whereby there's loads of ingredients, and let's get guests, listeners, you, to kind of think about, okay, the different things that make up a conspiracy, where typically we have an actor, so a group of people doing something. What are they doing? What is their action? And then what is their motive? Why are they doing it? Now, what you can have is lots of different ingredients that, will be an actor. So, for example, teenagers are engaged in plots and schemes to make more money. Now, that has an actor, action, and motive. But to me, that doesn't really make sense because I'm afraid I don't see teenagers as being that powerful. Whereas to swap it out and say the government are involved in plots and schemes to make more money or to control people or to do something really bad, that certainly makes a bit more sense because you're like, okay, that is a group, a powerful group that could be doing those things, which therefore means that someone can kind of think through what a conspiracy is by playing through these different ingredients. And that's just one example, but there's a whole range of different things that are in this kitchen where often they lead to funny things where you think that is just ridiculous. But it makes you think actually to make a conspiracy theory that makes sense is actually quite difficult. So in a way, to get to the point that we have so many going around social media is quite a feat in its own right. So basically, therefore, it's just a way to kind of think through what a conspiracy is. And we have turned it online that if you just Google Conspiracy Kitchen, we've got an online kind of kitchen. That means you can kind of have a play around with the different ingredients and kind of make up your own perfect conspiracy, which is quite difficult.
Yeah. I've never really thought about it that way.
I know, it's really interesting.
If you break it down. You've also been an active member of an interdisciplinary course network, comparative analyst of conspiracy theories. In the introduction on your website, it says that conspiracies have increased, especially online with the rise of fake news and disinformation.
Is social media and the easily spread uses of it something that you want to tackle in the conspiracy theory world?
There's lots of different people who are interested in conspiracy theories in the sense of the study of conspiracy theories. So as mentioned, I'm a psychologist. I'm interested in why people believe in conspiracy theories, but there's historians who are interested in how has the history of a conspiracy theory changed over a long period of time. You've even got people who sociologists interested in kind of the makeup of a conspiracy theory. So there's lots of people asking loads of interesting questions. So obviously when it comes to the internet, it's quite interesting to think about the role of the internet, because in a way, it kind of made conspiracy theories go on steroids. Because, these beliefs have been around since the start of time. A historian will tell you more about that than I can. They're not something new that has existed in just our lifetime. They've been around forever. Because it's a way for people to understand the world and to kind of make sense of the very complex world that we live in. Which means that, therefore, that the internet is just kind of a way to communicate the theories that already existed. So like pre-internet, it was people chatting to each other, it was the radio, it was newspapers, which is that's what I mean by steroids, in the sense that someone can talk about a theory and kind of investigate it immediately, whereas previously that was very difficult, which basically means therefore that there's no strong evidence to suggest that the internet has made conspiracy beliefs more popular, but rather arguably has it maintained popularity. But what I mean by that is if the internet disappeared or wasn't invented, we would still have conspiracy theories. It just would be much more hidden because we can't necessarily put the spotlight on them. Whereas in today's world, we can follow hashtags, we can follow trends, we can see what people are talking about, what people are saying. So we can kind of see it in our kind of ecosystem when actually it's always been there. Not, of course, that's notwithstanding that, being exposed to this content can change how you think and what you believe and how you act. So potentially someone who's exposed to conspiracy content on TikTok over and over and over and over and over, and that comes their whole feed, well, arguably over a period of time, that would change their beliefs, right? But if you think about it as just kind of maintaining just the internet there means that there's more conspiracies, more belief. It's not necessarily true. It's more complex than that.
So you tested a social psychological techniques in the relation to the anti-vaccine conspiracies. Why did this conspiracy come about, and what techniques did you test, in your opinion?
So it's, of course, conspiracy theory is going to impact loads of different behaviours and loads of different aspects of our life. In particular, one is around vaccines. So, of course, with the COVID pandemic, we saw a lot of rhetoric around vaccination and not getting vaccinated for whole different reasons. So, of course, some people won't vaccinate for, because they feel fearful or because of bad experiences, but others won't vaccinate because they believe it's all part of a conspiracy, that, there's rhetoric around it being a way to control people, or indeed Bill Gates involved, or a whole range of different things. So we were interested back then to think about how could we use kind of factual information, could giving people counter arguments, the facts, before someone has a conspiracy belief, could that offer some protection? So in essence, to inoculate them against that conspiracy theory. And we do find some evidence of that actually working. Like giving facts up front, that's, vaccines are safe and this is why, can actually make you more resistant to being exposed, or make you more resistant to believing in conspiracy theories when you're exposed to them, which I think is really promising. But of course, it means you've got to have the facts up front. Now, with vaccination, it may actually work because someone may not necessarily think about vaccine behaviours or whatever until actually they're prepared to vaccinate. So, for example, with parents, if you're able to give people factual information up front when they're thinking about vaccinating their child, that could be the ideal time. Whereas with other types of conspiracy theories, getting up front with the fact could be difficult because sometimes we don't necessarily know, or what the truth is, could be working it out, or indeed we don't necessarily know when someone's going to start thinking about a certain type of conspiracy theory. So I think giving people facts does work. It's just hard to know in what situation, whereas vaccine behaviours does seem to be kind of ideal for that. I'm just not sure how it applied to other areas. Obviously, it's still worth trying and still worth, giving people that information. It's just hard to get there first sometimes.